I used to be the most awkward person in the room at any given time. If you brought me around a new group of people, I would freeze up and there's nothing you could do about that. I would not acknowledge any of the people in front of me. I would not be making eye contact. I'd just be staring at the floor trying to go unnoticed. And my thoughts would be racing like, oh my god, they hate me. They must think I'm a freak. What am I even doing here? And I would convince myself that people were watching my every move. You know when you're feeling very anxious and you start getting paranoid over stupid things like, what am I doing with my hands? Everyone's watching. I would never go out of my way to start a conversation with someone else. And when they did speak to me, my heart would be pounding out of my chest and I'd be standing there all stiff, unable to get my words out like And then when we finally did, we might exchange a few words like, hi, my name's Tom, how do you know these guys? Oh, cool. And then I'd be hit by that awkwardly long drawn out silence where neither person knows what to say. And then just to break the tension, I'd say something fucking stupid and they'd actually think I was weird. And where the other person would probably move on from that conversation within minutes, I would be playing it back in my mind for days, weeks even. Just torturing myself like, why would you fucking say that? Oh, you fucking idiot. This is why you hardly have any friends. Just burying my self-confidence and trapping me in a whole nightmare. Do you want to know the biggest thing that held me back socially? A mistake that cost me years of happiness and a rich, fulfilling social life. It was believing that some people are born confident and others are not. Like, you know, you have the extrovert who can enter a social flow state with anyone at any time. And then you have the introverts who are better off keeping to themselves, have like a small group of friends and don't really talk to people. I heavily believe that I was the latter. Listen to me here. There are people who exist in your life that love to tell you what you can and can't do. Whether that's your parents, your teachers, even your more socially outgoing friends. Oh, don't worry mate, you're just shy. Now stand back there and let the big boys talk, alright? They think they know you better than you do. And honestly, it's convenient for them for you to be the shy, quiet person because it makes them look more important. But hearing that enough times does make you start to believe it's true. Otherwise, why is everyone saying it? So when I had all these awkward experiences, I fell back on the belief that it was all because I was an introvert. I was just a shy person. I'm not meant to go out there and socialize. But that wasn't going to get me what I wanted. Holding on to that belief wasn't going to turn me into this socially magnetic person who everyone wants to be around, who can entertain a room full of people without even thinking twice, who's able to attract beautiful girls and make lifelong friends with ease. So it's been a couple of years and I'm not quite there, but the awkwardness that used to ruin my life is gone. I don't find it difficult to speak to new people and I'm quite laid back socially. I've made many friends over the years and I've had a couple of very positive relationships. And honestly, I feel quite happy and fulfilled. I'm content with where I'm at. And most importantly, I'm not torturing myself anymore. So beyond just believing that I could become better socially, how else did I achieve this transformation? Well, lucky for you, I've put together this guide with actionable steps for you to follow along with. So here's how to stop being socially awkward. So first of all, you have to nail the basics. You have to learn about the art of presentation. So you've probably heard people talk about how first impressions are everything, and that's true. People actually make up their mind about you within 20 seconds of meeting you. And of course, if you're a very socially anxious person, that's a scary thing to think about, but don't worry, I've got you covered here. A lot of the anxiety we carry into conversations comes from the fact that we feel a bit inadequate. We almost feel like we're lesser than the other person. And right now you might be telling me, fuck off, that's not me. But apply it to this situation. If you met someone famous, surely you're going to be a bit intimidated. That's for a variety of reasons. They're rich, they're famous, they have high status. And in the same way, famous people are going to have those that they look up to, who they're going to be getting nervous around and acting all funny. It's just something that everyone goes through. It's not something to be ashamed about. It's very normal to put someone on a pedestal if you're not 100% confident and sure of yourself. But who is? Confidence is something that comes with experience, of course. Like, you become more comfortable with a certain thing after repeated exposure to it. The uncomfortable becomes the comfortable. But I know how difficult it can be to do that thing just one time, to go through that initial discomfort. So my advice is, if you're nervous about socializing, what people think of you, wouldn't it make sense to go into that situation looking your absolute best? You know, in good shape, dressed nicely, with a fresh trim. Everyone struggles with self-image. You're rarely going to find someone who likes the way they look and wouldn't change a single thing. And obviously the content of your character and your actions matter much more than any of that. But honestly, if you don't respect yourself when you look in the mirror, how can you expect someone else to? At a bare minimum, you have to be working on your body, making sure you're at a low enough body fat, making sure that you're putting on some nice size and muscle, that you're filling out those t-shirts. And honestly, that was the best thing I ever did for my confidence. Because looking good, my friend, is feeling good. So now for some more practical tips. I'm sure everyone knows the basic social etiquette of greeting people. You know, smiling, making sure you're holding eye contact, shaking their hands. But when you're in the heat of the moment, when you're nervous, it is very easy to forget those basics. So before I step into a new place, I like to run through a couple of cues just to make sure I'm presenting myself at my best. Is my posture nice and straight? Am I smiling? Am I prepared to meet someone's eyes instead of looking at the floor? Then when I greet a new person, I introduce myself politely. What's your name, bro? Oh, my name's Tom. Making sure I hold good eye contact and shaking their hand firmly, especially if it's a guy. Then I follow it up with a few questions. Do you live around here? If they're with other people, how do you know these guys? Just quickly trying to find that common ground, just something to latch onto so we can get that conversation flowing. Okay, so we've initiated the conversation now, but starting a conversation is one thing and keeping it going is another. And this is where a lot of young men run into trouble. They just run out of things to say and reach that dreaded awkward silence. And trust me, I know, I've been there. It fucking sucks. And this is where I come back to one of the best pieces of social skills advice I've ever heard. It's from the book How to Win Friends and Influence People. And that is make the other person feel important. If you can feel that this conversation is dying down or not really going anywhere, then there is no better place to take it than talking about them. People are fucking egotistical. We love to talk about ourselves. We want to feel like we're interesting and that we matter. Most people would welcome the chance to talk about themselves. So the next time you're in this situation, I want you to ask them questions about them. And it could be framed as a compliment, like, where did you get those shoes? You have to tell me. Honestly, I really appreciate the effort you put into all your outfits. See what we just did there? The door was closing and we've opened a new one. We found something else to work with in this conversation and we can keep it going a while longer. Some people have described me as being quite an intense conversationalist, and that's because I ask quite direct questions. Things like, what do you want out of life? Or what are your ambitions? Where do you see yourself? And that's me being genuinely curious about them, wanting to know more about people, not being afraid to take the conversation to deep places. And I don't mind people thinking that of me because I feel like it makes me memorable. I don't want to have the same boring conversation 100 times. I want to talk about something meaningful. But obviously you can take it too far. Like, use your common sense. If you're not that close with the person, then don't ask them questions that are too personal. But in general, you cannot go wrong with making someone else the focus of the conversation. Because everyone likes to be made to feel important. You're probably giving them more attention, more of an opportunity for them to talk about how great they are than anyone else would have done that day. And they will love you for that. So the crucial piece of advice is, whenever you feel like this conversation is about to reach a dead end, make it about them. Ask them questions, be genuinely interested in what they have to say. Give them compliments, just make them know you're paying attention. But at the end of the day, even the most legendary speaker will bore someone. It's not about getting every person you meet to fucking fall in love with you. It's about becoming more comfortable in your own skin, learning from your mistakes that you made in the past, and enjoying one of the best parts of life, which is socializing, to the fullest. Don't beat yourself up or dwell on your mistakes for too long, because I guarantee you're the only person who's gonna remember it. Stay sharp, stay ahead. I'm out.